What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night. It's 8 o'clock on the East Coast, and that means it's time for Proper Royals Live. Tonight, we got Tony Thomas from Hardwired Exotic over there. Hardwired Exotics out of Millen, Georgia. Tony, thank you for being here, man. I appreciate you.
Yep, thank you for the invite.
Yeah, man. Anytime. You got an open invite, man. So we said, we were talking offline, which is pretty cool, but we might cover some of those same topics again. But I saw what made me invite you first was what you do. I see what you do, and it's awesome. Secondly, you've just gotten back from the Arlington show, the NARBC show in Arlington, and we wanted to do a little recap on that. And then I thought we'd talk some business, and you got a pretty booming YouTube channel too. So I like talking that kind of stuff. We kind of dig into that on the show. I want to welcome Tony's audience, anybody that came to check him out and hasn't been here before. My name's Adam, and this channel is called Proper Royals, and it's kind of where we document my family's journey from ball python hobby to ball python business. We're in the midst of that, and we document everything right here, and I try and be as transparent as I can about business, expenses, breeding plans, and we have a good time hanging out on Tuesday nights here at 8 o'clock too. So, Tony, thank you for being here, man.
For sure. No problem. Glad to be here.
Yeah. How was the Arlington show, man?
It was a very good show. Attendance was a lot slower than I expected, but I mean, all in all, it was great getting out. It's the first show we've done in 2 years, so a lot of people were glad to see us out and about again, and got to meet a lot of people that I wouldn't normally be able to meet here in Georgia. So was quite overwhelmed with the amount of people that wanted to stop and talk and check out the snakes and stuff like that. So
that's a cool thing, though. I mean, you guys got to make you feel good that you're reaching people, especially outside of Georgia.
Yeah, definitely. It was actually that part of it was probably a little bit overwhelming. Having so many people, that I don't know. Like everybody, I mean, there was very few faces that I was familiar with that I've seen at other shows or have stopped by the facility or that I talk to on a regular basis. Majority of them were, people that I've never met before. That I maybe talked to them here and there a little bit, but majority of people I really had never put a face to the name. So that was really encouraging. I mean, it really, on the way back home when me and Eric and my wife were driving back home, and that's one of the things that I was like, I didn't even care about the money. It was just cool being able to see and meet so many people and see what kind of impact that we truly do have on the hobby, because I live pretty simple life, so it's not something that I'm used to hearing, I guess.
Well, first you should enjoy that. Congratulations on that. It's something that I've found even on a small scale of, we were talking before the show. I've got 1,100 subscribers. Hell, tonight would be a success if I hit 1,100 subscribers, but it's amazing the people that reach out to you or that you connect with on shows like this or that you meet at shows. And, I know most of the people, I'm looking at the comments right now. I know most of the people in the comments, whether through the show or having connected with them in person. And I can only imagine because you've had a heck of a lot more influence than me. So, at the show, you were vending, or you were there enjoying it, checking it out?
No, we were vending. We had Eric Walsh from Monster Morphs. He rode out with me. He took a couple of his animals, but mainly it was my stuff. And we had, 2 tables there and pretty much filled them up. So,
yeah, I was going to say, how many? So, give us some stats from like vending at a show like that. How many animals did you take out with you?
I think we took about 60. I had a lot of pre-sales. Like once people found out that I was coming, a lot of people just went ahead and jumped on some animals and just got delivered there.
Yeah.
So I was hoping for about 70, but I think we ended up taking about 60. I think Eric had 15, maybe 20 of his. So I mean, it was a good number of snakes, especially for this time of year. I'm not used to having that many animals this time of year.
Yeah.
We're usually pretty much always sold out by this time of year. So,
did you hold some back specifically for the show so that you'd have inventory?
Yeah, once we decided we were going, we had some bales and some pods that we just kind of held back for that particular show. Okay. But that was it. Like, I didn't really hold anything back serious that, you know, I hear a lot of people saying they hold back the best stuff for the shows and all that, but we didn't do that. It's not fair to a lot of my customers to miss out on something that they might be looking for.
I was going to say, like, if you've built an audience, a customer base, a fan loyalty, plus the money's on the table. I mean, the old bird in hand, you know, saying, what do you see at the price? Do you see the prices getting driven down at shows because of the immediate competition and the different customer base, or do you see that you're able to raise prices at a show with the caliber of like Arlington? I realize that's different than a small town Repticon, but you know, what do you see about pricing when it comes to that?
Yeah, one of the key reasons why I quit doing shows, especially with the Repticons, is because of the pricing. You know, this is what I do for a living, and a lot of people that don't know that this is what feeds my kids. This is what I run my business off of. So I can't go to a show and not make any sales and just dump a couple of animals at a cheaper price, you know, just to cover my costs. That's I just can't do that as a business point of view. And I see that a lot at shows. You know, I see a lot cheaper price at shows on stuff that shouldn't be, in my opinion, that low, or something similar to what I have, and I have it priced more. And I know, like, I know that my prices are sometimes a little higher than most people, and there's two reasons for that. One, when you buy something from me, you know, it's a business, and with that business comes a guarantee and a backup. You know, if something happens to that animal, like if it's my fault or something goes wrong in a short amount of time after you have it, I'm going to cover that. That's part of me being in business. But I don't know. I really have a hard time with that. Like, I feel my prices are competitive. They're not going to be the cheapest, but they're also, you know, not going to be the highest on the market either. Unless it's something that I want to keep back. If it's something that I want to keep, then yeah, I'm going to put a higher price on it because I don't really want to sell it. But if somebody wants to, you know, invest that much into it, then it can be theirs. So
yeah, I don't have a problem with anybody's. I mean, anybody's price. Look, the beauty of what we do, and a lot of what free market capitalism is that the market will decide it. You wouldn't still be in business if you were selling things at an outrageous price, because you wouldn't sell them. There'd be too much competition. If you didn't bring value to your name, you wouldn't be able to sell them. And like we were talking about offline, my background is restaurants. If you want something out of a box thrown into a fryer, I'm not your guy. There's cheaper places you can go eat. On the other hand, if you want to know it's safe, it's cared for, it's you know, cooked by a world-class chef, et cetera, that comes with a price too. And I'm glad to hear that there's a market for both of those things. Now, sometimes people just flat out don't have the money, and I don't have the money for a Lamborghini, so it ain't going to happen today. Maybe it'll happen down the line, but it ain't going to happen today. But I recently made a video on pricing, and I didn't feel the need, in my opinion, again, to compete on the simple level of just sheer pricing. If you are establishing yourself, maybe you need to do that. Maybe you do have to work a little bit harder. On the other hand, you've put in the time, you've put in the work, just look behind you, you know? And then also there's just the total, like, bottom of the barrel scumbags. Like, you're not going to get mites when you get to receive a snake from Tony at Hardwired. Like, it's not even part of the conversation because we know that's not going to be there. But damn, I haven't received a snake with mites before. And whatever I saved buying that snake kicked my ever-loving butt all over the place when I had to get rid of mites for the next 3-4 weeks. Man, it was the hardest work I've ever done on my snakes, you know, and I was mad the whole time doing it.
Yep.
So I don't have a problem with pricing because, like I say, I believe the market will fix it. If there was a problem with Justin's pricing, the market would fix it. You wouldn't, barring some, family trust that you never have to care about anything. You'd probably get bored if that were the case. I'm guessing you like the game a little bit, So I don't get that that's the case whatsoever. You said attendance was down a little bit. What were you basing that on? What was your expectation on that?
Well, I've always heard that the NARBC shows were always packed and there were a pile of people. And I was expecting that. Like I was expecting to be bombarded with people, wanting to look at things and hold things and talk, a lot of nonsense. And I say nonsense because you get a lot of people in there that think they know everything, and I don't know, maybe that's the difference in the NARBC versus a Repticon, because there was not nearly as much of that going on, thank God. But I don't know. I mean, we just always hear about the shows being packed and a pile of people, and there just wasn't that many. I mean, I wouldn't say that majority of the Repticons that I've done in the past, there were just as many people walk by the table as there was in Arlington. So
really,
I definitely wasn't and I hate to sound like a jackass, but for the amount of money that we actually done in Arlington, I'm quite surprised by how many people actually walk by our table. I put it that way. So
really, okay, yeah. So let me ask you this, without getting too specific, and Larry, you can get as specific as you want, but not singling anything out. Other than the experience, financially, between the drive, the overnight, the overhead to put on your tables, to whatever merch equipment you got to buy, I'm sorry, somebody's setting out fireworks. I swear to God, like this is a really what you all don't know in the audience is we were a moment or two coming on late because my car alarm went off, and like I live in pretty vanilla suburbia, but they're like mortar shells going off right now. Somebody's setting off fireworks on a Tuesday night. I don't know what they're celebrating, February 22nd.
Sorry. My mom's birthday.
That's right, man. I keep looking that way. I'm out in my converted garage, and I'm like, the first one, I thought the first one was a gunshot. I was like, we're going to end the show a little quicker tonight. So other than the experience or the exposure or being part of it, do the finances make sense, or is it make more sense for you to sit at home and make YouTube videos and put things on Morph Market to get your product out?
I mean, we done well at that show. Plenty well enough to make it worth the time and effort to go do it, even though that it was halfway across the country for us. We still done quite well.
Yeah.
So I definitely could see us going back and doing that again. Not sure about Tinley this go around, mainly because the stock of animals that we have right now. I just don't know if I want to do another 15-hour haul to do Tinley this year, but we have already got tables booked for Daytona.
Oh, you're going to be at Daytona? Have you been to Daytona before or not?
I've never vended. We've gone a good bit, mainly just to buy stuff. When I was building a collection and stuff.
Yeah.
We went down there to buy, but it's the first time we've vended. My buddy Chris Davenport has pretty much told me that I'm going regardless of what I think. So, so now we have tables. But I'm looking forward to that one, and hopefully, if we have a lot of babies, which we're gearing up pretty good. I mean, we've got a lot of females that are going this year already, and if we do well, we'll look at Tinley in the fall. The Tinley Fall show just it falls on a bad time for us. We got a lot of stuff going on that time of year, my wife's business, so it's hard to let loose during that weekend. But we'll see what happens when Tinley rolls back around. But I definitely foresee doing the NARBCs more regularly. I still have no desire to do any of the Repticons. I know the other one around here is Show Me Snakes. Yeah. I'm not going to say I wouldn't do one, but it shows, as much as I love meeting people and hanging out with people, it's just so much work for us. And it puts a lot of stress on our animals too. And
That's true. Yeah.
Time away from our kids. And it's a lot easier to deal with people online and ship them out versus, packing everything back up. So I don't know. It's just, I don't have anything against shows. It's just really not, I don't know. It doesn't make sense for me as a family man right now as much as it used to.
Right. I really don't have a leg to stand on. My first year of breeding, I produced 15 snakes. It's not like I was going to a show to vend at all. On the other hand, I understand costs and overhead, and how I make my living now is helping restaurants manage their costs and manage efficiencies and profitability. So applying that to ball pythons and shows, I haven't been able, not counting the experience. See, the experience could be priceless. If it's just something you want to do and be a part of, then there's no price. It doesn't matter. Go do it. But I haven't been able to figure out like what I would need to make it worthwhile to cover in one easy weekend. And really the headache of shipping is the only benefit I can see saving. Now, like you say, interacting with people, being there, meeting people, creating content. If it was, we were talking offline about YouTube monetization. If 2 days of Daytona equaled 10 videos that I could get sponsored and we're going to make me X amount of dollars, hell yes, that's a different spreadsheet than just got to buy this, got to sell that, got to pay gas this, got to pay hotel that, So I'm not there yet. I think I want to do it just for the experience of doing it, but I would need to, you said you had a buddy come along with you. I would need somebody to let me buy in with them, because I'm really probably not going to buy the overhead of the display cases and the full, the proper table wraps and the backdrop, all of those sorts of things. I'm just not there right now on it.
Yeah. And that stuff costs a lot of money. I mean, there's a lot of money involved in it. So
yeah.
And another thing about the animals I create, majority of people going to a show aren't looking for things that I'm making, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, tell us more about that. What do you see that people want? I mean, you mentioned earlier you brought pieds and bells. You think it was just the eye catchers and the oohs and the ahs that people want, or what you see there?
The people coming by looking for a pet or looking for something that they might be more cost effective for them. They like the bells and they like pieds and they like albinos and things like that. And we do make a few of those, not very many.
Right.
And, we lucked up this year and had some available for this show, but that's very, very often that I keep those things back or even produce those things anymore, just because I breed for what I like. And like, I try to push every project. Every year I want to push the projects that I'm working. And I'm lucky enough that most of the projects that I'm working, the ones that I don't keep, other people won't. So
yeah,
I'm kind of more of a, you got to be in this project to want to get something from me, versus just trying to make a bunch of animals to resell or make a bunch of animals to take to the show. I'm way more particular about parents. I've kind of dubbed this name over the past 2 or 3 years about making hits. Everybody calls me I was the blackhead king for a long time, and now people are dubbing me as the hit king because I make so many hits on different projects. But I mean, I do what I like, and I'm fortunate enough that other people like it too to buy in with me. So, I try to be different. I don't like following the normal crowd, and I'm not scared to make the hits. So.
I was watching your video tonight on the het-to-het pairings. It's I don't know how much you've seen of my stuff. I love recessive projects, and like to the point where I have more recessives than I do dominant or incomplete doms, however we want to call it, in my collection. And it kind of dawned on me that like maybe there's a niche, which you're talking about, of, hey, I'm probably never going to be the guy that stacks 3 DOMs on top of a recessive, but if you need the hets and you need the recessives to get your project going, I could probably be that guy in 2 or 3 years. And that's kind of the path that I'm carving out. Plus I enjoy it. To your point about you do what you like, at the end of the day, this isn't all that easy or glamorous work. It's better than clocking into a dish pit. I'll tell you that first and foremost, but having the freedom and control. But on the other hand, we're scrubbing tubs and cleaning poo for quite a lot of the day. So, I get what you're saying on that. So I'm guessing that most of your clients and your customers are other breeders, though. It's probably not the pet market.
Yeah, I sell probably 90% of our, I'm probably not 90, probably 80% of our babies go to other breeders. 10% probably goes to people that are looking for a pet, and the other 10% get wholesaled.
Oh, okay. You got some wholesale arrangements as well.
Yeah, I mean, if I make like normal het desert ghost or normal het pod male or something like that, I mean, it's not even worth my time trying to sell it. So right. The pet stores will snatch those up and sell them for $60, and that's good for them. But it's just not something that I would.
Yeah, by the time you're feeding it, managing it, and taking the time to try and sell it, I get it. I'm at the point right now where I still need a proof of concept that I can move animals to myself. So for me, I get that. But I mean, for you, I get that. For me, it's a little bit different. Although hopefully this year and certainly next year, that should be the case for me, where in Florida, we have to have a specific license to sell, but where I can call up the pet shop and go, look, here's my class 3, here's my inventory. What works for both of us kind of deal. It makes sense to move this on. So at Arlington, you saw a lot of pet owners versus breeders, you think?
There were some, I would say, I mean, obviously I don't know everybody that walks by the table.
Sure,
I don't know who they are, but majority of the breeders the majority of the people that actually stopped and talked to me are either breeders now or future breeders. I would say probably 70%. Yeah. And probably 30% of them were just, looking for a pet.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't really calculating, but in my mind, Daytona seemed to be like breeders, man. Like, I don't know. I saw them chatting about people that were there before. Like, guys in the comments, tell me what you think. Or Jeremy Bod's watching tonight. I saw him. Steven at Leviathan Snakes. You were at Daytona. What did you guys think? I thought it was mostly breeders. And I talked to there's a breeder out of Daytona actually called George Emdy. I love his stuff. But I saw him in Daytona, and then I saw him up here in Jacksonville, and it was nice stuff he had here in Jacksonville. And I was like, man, where are the heavy hitters? He's like, I'm not bringing that to Jacksonville, and nobody going to buy it here. I'm not bringing $4,000 snakes to Jacksonville. I was like, well, there goes my content plans for the day, So, but yeah. It really felt like it had.
I never understood that concept either.
Of what? Of not bringing the heavy hitters out?
Yeah, even for a small show, I take what I got. Regardless of how high end it. I think that's one of the stupidest mottos ever.
Really? So, yeah. How many?
I've done a show local to me that it might have had 500 people walk through the door, and I've sold $2,000 and $3,000 snakes.
Yeah.
Because somebody's walking through there and they see something they like, and they got the money to blow, and then they buy it.
Yeah. So. My wife and I joke a lot. So I live on the outskirts of Jacksonville, just south of town, and it's complete suburbia around here. But I marvel at, and people probably would laugh at the snakes or the guitars that I had. They would say the same thing to me. But at the $60,000, the $70,000, the $80,000 pickup trucks around, I'm just like, my God, what kind of money is flying around here, And thanks for saying that. I like your point. Like, the answer is always no if you don't bring it, but if you do bring it, you might find that $2,000-$3,000 hitter that's in the room that you get to have that nobody else does, you know?
Yep. And you got the fact if somebody walks by and sees something super unique, and that's what clicks. I mean, that's what makes them go, I really want to get into this business.
Yeah. So, yeah. What is that? How do I do that? How does that become accessible to me? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, or they see the price tag. I mean, that's a big thing. And unfortunately, in this day and age, that's what a lot of people see is the price tag. And then all of a sudden they want to go buy a bunch of snakes because they want to make money like that, not seeing everything else that goes into the industry. And then those are usually the people that, you know, we buy collections back out of because they've dumped a pile of money in it and don't see the investment in a year or two. So, yeah,
I wrestle with that a little bit because I never want to be the naysayer to somebody that's new. And I'm new myself. Like, I just passed the 2-year mark of I had some ball pythons back in college, but I never bred them, or they were just strictly pets in college, you know, but it's a grind, man. It's real work. And I want to ask you about a video you did in a little bit. We'll get there, but yes, everybody starts somewhere, but you got to be able to put in the work and put in the longevity and try and figure out the angles. Like, for every new person that starts, there's a dude like me that's going to go, all right, how do I separate myself? How do I make my own brand? And how long am I willing to do it? I've been slogging on YouTube for 15 months and now I get monetized, and I'm lucky if I make $1 a day. And that's not a sob story. I'm thrilled by it. I freaking love it. But it's also part of the path. It's part of the plan. The same thing. I also am a professional musician. I played so many horrible gigs to empty rooms, to people just looking at me like they know the song's done. They know they could clap. They ain't going to clap. Like, you got to do all of those things, and you got to get through it all, you know, or whether you're a dishwasher in a restaurant before you become a chef, whatever it might be. And that's part of it. And so I never want to shut somebody's dreams down. On the other hand, I want to go, are you ready? Are you ready to do it? You know? So anyhow, hey, let me say hey to some folks in here. We got 39 people. I always joke, 840 is when we kind of usually hit our stride. 840 to 920 will peak. And if we're at 39 right now, I predict we hit around 50 here in the next 20 minutes, which is my new latest kind of strategy to watch. It's pretty fun. But there's a lot of good people in here tonight. Jeremy Bod's been great to me. Jeremy says no vest tonight. No, it's warming up in Florida, man. I'm out here in the garage. I don't have to worry about my vest anymore. Kai from Lucas Landon Royals is in tonight. And there's some new faces that I don't know. Jonathan Stone, and I don't know you. Thanks for being here. Con Worker 1. And I can't go through all 40 people. Let me just say thanks. Chris Shelley, I owed you a phone call today. My apologies, man. It's my first day back after vacation. I just got busy with paying the bills with work. My apologies, man. We'll touch base tomorrow. We're still good to talk. And Mark out in San Diego, he says, I love the grind and haven't made a cent yet. Man, Mark is buying some killer stuff. His collection is looking good. Those of y'all that watch the channel, I got a new video. Sorry, I haven't been great on videos lately. I've been traveling. I was in DC this weekend, and Thursday I fly out to Tucson, and I've got to drive back to Jacksonville. But I filmed a couple shows. I'm going to be editing them from the road. That's going to be my nighttime entertainment while I'm on the road. I'll get those out for you. So Thursday I'll have a new video. Check out the tour of Jeremy Bod's Exotic Reptiles facility. It's like a 45-minute video, man. He's got a ton of stuff, man. It's really killer. So check that out. In the meantime, we'll be back. And maybe Tony, you're up in Millen, Georgia. That's just south of Augusta, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, man. We must only be 3.5, 4 hours apart.
I'm 3 hours on the dot from Jacksonville. So
okay, yeah. So here's a crazy thing. My restaurant career, I'm looking over here because this is my calendar. My restaurant career, I'm waiting to hear back, but I actually might be working this year's Masters tournament of all things.
Good luck.
Yeah, well, yeah, I won't get any sleep and I'll be exhausted, which is all right. I like it. I like what I do. But if I do, I'm going to give you a call and see if we can't come drink a beer and check out some ball pythons, man. That'd be cool.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm debating. I have this, like, I got to film a video, maybe even tonight. No, I got to feed tonight, tomorrow. You touched on it a minute ago. So kind of a big, like, announcement and a big step forward on my end. I made this weekend, an opportunity came up. And I made an agreement. I haven't exchanged the money yet, but it's going to happen. I made an agreement to buy out a collection from a breeder that I've done business with before. He got a new job opportunity. He's going to be moving, buying a new house. He's got colubrids and geckos. And he says, you know what, Adam, here's what I'm thinking. Take some of my snakes and I'll make you this deal. And I said, I don't have the space for him. I need a set of ARS racks in the deal. And he came back and he said, you know what? For X amount more, take the whole thing. And I said, yes, it's going to happen. So I got to make a video on that, but I'm pretty excited about that. So I can't, like I say, I've got to travel this weekend, but the next weekend I'm going to be loading in ARS racks, and I got 23 new ball pythons and projects in it that I don't have. You talked about blackheads earlier. This guy's got a male and a female breeder blackhead het genetic stripe. So blackhead and genetic stripe will be new to my collection, as well as ultramel. And then he's got a ton of visual recessives, clowns, pieds. I think there's some I know there's ultramel. I just said ultramels. Anyhow, I'm pretty excited about that. I'm looking forward to checking that out. Actually, I'm excited to go get it. I'm annoyed I have to travel right now, to be honest with you.
It's always exciting getting new stuff.
How has your you know what? Tell us your, however short or long you want to make it. Tell us your story, man. I saw an interview with Kabilka with you talking about a pretty modest start to your investments. And one of my questions now is, how big is your damn facility, man? You got a hell of a lot of space. You got a lot going on. I want to know your story. What happened, man?
I mean, basically, just like I said on there, before I get into this, I'm having a tooth issue. I got to get a tooth pulled soon, so I'm having a hard time talking. So I'm slurring a lot, and I apologize for that. But basically, just like it is on Kabilka's thing, I mean, we started out with a male and a couple of normal females, and bred them, and realized that I could make money if I continue to breed. So I took all that money and invested into another Mojave. So I had a pair of Mojaves and bred them, made some blue-eye Lucies, sold them. Bought some more snakes. I think I got chocolate pretty early on, and not long after chocolate, I got blackhead stuff. And back then, these animals were real cheap. Nobody really worked that stuff. So,
how long ago was this?
I started the business in 2014. This would have been 2002.
Oh, really?
2001, something like that.
Years.
No, not 2000. Sorry. Been 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2011.
Yeah.
I probably acquired the first set in maybe 2010.
Gotcha.
So that sounds about right.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I'm not grading you here. That's cool. So you're going Mojave to Mojave, you're getting bells, you're moving the white snakes, the blue eyes, people are catching on to it. What was like the aha catalyst of, like, wait a minute, maybe I'm not going to clock in anymore. Maybe I'm going to do this.
So I went full time 3 years ago when my wife got pregnant with our son, which is fixing to turn 3 next month. And about 5 years ago, which would have been, what is it now, 22, so 2017. At that point, I was starting to actually make money doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So once I realized that I was working for a body shop, and long story short, I really wasn't making much money. I was making decent money for where we live at. I mean, we live in a very rural area, so $40,000 a year is a big paycheck around here. But it just wasn't where I wanted to be. And when I could start clearing, $20,000 and $30,000 after expenses every year with the snakes, I'm going, I'm really starting to think about it. So the year before I quit working at the body shop painting cars, I talked to my wife about it, and I was like, let's pull some money out of our savings. Let's put everything we got into this and invest in, some really good animals. And I want to go full time. So that's exactly what we did. So about a year and a half of raising, some females that we had bought and got some good males. And when she got pregnant, I was like, it's time. So I told the body shop that I wanted to start cutting my hours back, and with intentions of quitting. And they didn't really have a choice because they didn't have anybody to replace me. So I started working, basically 3 or 4 days a week with them. And then as soon as Range was born, I just told them that I was done. And by that time we were clearing probably $60,000 or $70,000 a year. So wasn't still where I wanted to be at, but it was enough to live off of. And I knew that if I could really quit working and just focus straight on our snakes, that I could increase that number again the following year, which we did. And not by much. I mean, there's not like I'm making, $1 million at this, but
yeah, still work.
And speaking of which, a lot of people don't realize it's because of where I live at, and we don't owe money on hardly anything. We can afford to live off this. So if we make, if we can make $60,000 or $70,000 and everything we have is paid for except for one vehicle, we can afford to live off that. And
yes, sir.
A lot of people don't understand. So
yeah, I talk a lot on this show that somebody might make $200 a year, but if you're driving around a car that's costing you $700 a month, you maybe aren't clearing as much as somebody that might be flirting with 60 or 70. Yep. Or at different stages in your life. Like, I just moved back into a home that I bought 14 years ago, and I've paid down so much. And actually money and income and inflation has changed to where this really is a very affordable living space. Both of my cars are paid off, and I don't have any debt.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it's the difference between do I spend it or don't I spend it? All right. Well, then I got some decisions to make. But that's a hugely important point. It's not what you make, it's how it fits into your lifestyle and your expectations. And that can also play into what you expect to make. If you only want to work 8 hours a day, I say only, that's fine. But you can't expect riches in an overnight sensation. You want to work 16, 18 hours a day, Instagram before work, then your day job, then your live stream, then you're feeding ball pythons, and then you're filming a video till 2 a.m.
Yep.
Maybe we'll figure out how to make it work. And honestly, maybe I won't. Maybe that'll all just be for stroking my ego and cutting a promo on a show, Yep. But no, that is a huge point. How you choose to live makes a hell of a difference in how your income feels and what rich is or what struggling or being owned or feeling poor is, and being tied to, man, the debt that people can get tied to is, sorry, I could do a whole show on that, man. Sorry, you really spoke to me on that one. You're exactly right. I agree with you.
Yeah, 100%. The house that we just moved from, a lot of people, don't realize it, but the house that I just moved from, when I moved in there, you could see the sky from parts of the roof. It was completely run down, but at the time it was the only thing that I could afford, and we worked on it. I worked hard and ended up completely redoing that house, and we still have that house.
Nice.
And it's just nobody ever seen that grind. I mean, nobody ever seen the countless nights that I stayed up working at a body shop, dealing with the snakes, laying tile in the middle of the night. Nobody ever seen that, and I don't really talk about it because it doesn't really matter. But nobody ever seen that part. Nobody ever seen the big investments that I made, the hard work that was made. My wife, I taught my wife how to lay tile. She would get in there right there with me and do it because, that's just what had to be done at that time. And we like to have nice stuff. And I know that my dad and mom taught me that if you're going to have something, you're going to work for it. Nobody's going to hand it to you. So,
yeah.
And I failed. I've failed so many times in life, like over and over and over and over again. But I've never given up, and I've never said, well, I'm just done with that. I'm going to live off somebody else. Or I've never once in my mind, I've lived off the streets before, and it never crossed my mind to just give up. Like, that's not who I am. So, but,
man, I'm happy to hear that story. I'm happy to see you sitting in front of your racks like that. And I've seen your videos. That is not the collection, man. That's just a corner of what you got going on, man. Like, that is, it's cool. And you're right, man. I have very seldom ever talked to anybody that's been successful, ball pythons or otherwise, who just said, yeah, I just decided, and it was easy, man. I just threw money at it and made it work. And like I say, I might be working the Masters this year, but I worked for the PGA Tour for 5.5 years, and the same story with those guys. It's not that they just sure, it's easy for us to sit back and go, oh, they just swing a golf club and make a fortune. But those are the dudes that were giving up, high school proms because they were still swinging golf clubs, or when they were 6, their dad was yelling at them to swing a golf club or whatever, or the guy in the suit and a bow tie out in the front of a nice restaurant that started for 5 years in a dish pit, or I worked 10 years at Ruby Tuesday, which Ruby's is a great company, or they were. I don't know if they still are or not, but we all do that, and that's what people don't see. And like I say, to a person, everybody that I talk to that has success, and they all define it differently. Like you said, man, you're not pulling in millions, but you feel rich because you have more money coming in than you have going out, and you can sleep at night with a clear conscience that your family's looked after. That to me is what's rich. Like, and it took me a while. And anyhow, I don't want to, we don't need to get into how a contest of pitiful, but I get it. I was pawning guitars to buy suits so that I could interview. And then I realized if I got a second interview, I was going to have to pawn another damn guitar because I didn't own anything else. And I couldn't wear the same suit and look like I was just a dude with one suit, And so anyway, hey, there's Phil with $5, man. Hey, thank you very much. You're right. Work hard and reap what you sow. Phil, I'm telling you, man, start a channel or keep up your channel. Phil powers his rat facility all on solar panels, and I don't know the full story. I think there were solar panels like left over or something, like no cost. Like, talk about lowering overhead. Boom. All right, we'll just pay for this thing with the sun, So, well, hey, give us some. Speaking of all that, the hard stuff. Give us the good stuff. How many animals are you dealing with now, ballpark? How many square feet is your facility? What do you got going on now? What's the cool story now?
So right now, we just moved into a facility a couple months ago. This is actually just a temporary facility. I've bought a piece of property adjacent to where we're at now that's 0.6 acres, and I plan on building a brand new from scratch facility on that. I had
Man,
already planned on starting it now, but with the prices like they are, I just can't bring myself to do it.
yeah.
So I'm going to hold off on that for a little bit and pray that materials go back down.
What
But
what kind of
that's
square footage what do you hope, like what's your ideal, like you're probably still in the dreaming stage or maybe a little bit beyond dreaming stage of planning, but what's the plan for that new facility look like?
it's a 40 by 60 building. Going to have a porch. 10 foot of that on the front will be a porch for an entrance spot. The main front door, I have a lobby and my office, kind of all in one big room. I plan on having I have a lot of people make me stuff like, I've got pictures and uh, shirts and tennis shoes and drawings and knives. I mean, I got all kind of stuff that people have given me over the years, and I keep up with all that stuff, and I want to display it somewhere. So the lobby area, I want to have all that stuff on display, and somewhere where I can film the YouTube as well.
Yeah,
And then I want to have some big double doors to open up in the back to the snake facility. A bathroom, wash area, stuff like that in it as well.
sure.
So, I mean, I've got it sketched out. I've talked to some contractors about it, but it just doesn't make sense for us right now. So
Yeah.
I just keep plugging away. I mean, what we have works, so I just keep plugging away. And if things don't change, maybe I can save up enough money over the next couple of years to just go ahead and do it. So,
Man, I love dreaming like that. I got a buddy that comes in the audience sometimes. He's not into ball pythons, but he and I work together in restaurants, and he left. He bought his own restaurant. I have my consulting gig now, and we just dream about stuff sometimes, and like it's real conversation. Like like what you're talking about is just that real to you. It's not, there's not a part of it. It's a dream. It's, well, here's what's going to happen when I make it happen. And to go from, for me, the guy that was pawning guitars that I treasured for a suit to go get a job to, hey, this guy called me over the weekend and yeah, I just bought his whole business. I bought the whole thing. And like, it's such a good feeling as an entrepreneur, right? Like there's just this pride that goes with it and a bit of a strut and a swagger that just nobody can take from you. And it's not ego. It's a difference between something that's earned and ego. It's not ego, man.
yeah.
Man, I'm so happy to hear that from you.
Yeah.
Incoline, thank you. Those of y'all that don't know, all of these super chats, my goal for the year is for my YouTube channel to pay for my rats so that people can stop telling me that I should be breeding rats. I'm going to pay for them with with the super chats. And as silly as that sounds, I really appreciate it. Thank you all very, very much. I'm happy to do it. And just what I learned from the community is such a cool thing. It's worth doing whether I make a penny or not. Trust me, I'm not the guy getting rich on YouTube. Maybe somebody is, but I might get rich through the community and through selling the snakes. And honestly, I met the guy that I bought his collection from. I met through YouTube, and I hope it's a fair deal to him, but I believe I'll make a whole lot of money on that over time as well. So anyhow, that comes from it as well. So you said that's a temporary facility. Is it, I mean, how do you arrange a temporary facility? Is it in a temporary housing? Is it a storage unit? What are you doing on that?
No, this is it's a complete building, concrete slab, 20 by 20. It has lean-tos on both sides that we have, our vehicles and side-by-sides and four-wheelers and stuff parked under. But I mean, it's a facility that's here. Like it's a mini split.
Yeah.
temperature controlled, insulated. I mean, it's just like a house would be.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking around the way I am. My garage is 20 by 20.
Yeah, that's what this was originally. Matter of fact, the concrete's even slightly sloped to drain the water. So
I didn't even realize that until I started. So I have a mini split in my garage, but I have another room that I built in here so that I can heat and really micromanage the temperature in. And I couldn't get, man, I'm measuring twice, I'm cutting straight, I'm all that. And I put the level on top, and I finally realized, I was like, damn it, the floor isn't sloped. And then everybody's like, yeah, it's a garage. Of course it's sloped. I'm like,
yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it's detached from our house, so it's its own, entity. But whoever poured the original concrete, it was for a carport.
Yeah.
But there's no door in it except for the entrance door now. There's no way to pull a vehicle in here or anything. So.
Gotcha. Did you seal that off, or it was never installed, or what'd you do on that wall?
It was already enclosed when we got here. So.
Gotcha. And it's already been insulated and everything for you.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Yeah. Hey, you had that when I talked about micromanaging the temperature in my snake area, you had a video, you talked about ambient temperature versus using heat strips. And first, I hadn't heard that argument before. Second, you were pretty passionate about you would rather use ambient temperatures rather than heat strips. And like serious, you weren't screwing around when you said that.
Yeah, I really hate the fact of having to run heat strips in here, but
why is that? Give us the background, give us the angle. I've never heard that. I'm not doubting it. I want to understand it.
Well, you have a lot of failures. Of course, you have the whole issue with something catching on fire.
Yes, sir.
And then you have the issue of killing snakes. I have many friends that have had thermostats, even the doubled up thermostats, go haywire, and the rack gets too hot and ends up killing animals. And if I had one friend that done that with the entire rack of breeder females, so he lost 40 breeder females, off of some malfunctioning, and that's gonna devastate somebody that's doing it for a living. So
yeah, financially and mentally, that'll screw with you.
Yep, that's it. So you have those aspects of it, and then the one of the biggest things when I ran heat strips early on, I would get slugs, or not very many. Sometimes I'd have a girl completely slug out, but I would see slugs here and there. Once I swapped over to ambient temperature, I never had slugs. Like, rarely had slugs. So I feel like ambient is just a way better thing. One downside, well, I wouldn't say it's a downside, but one thing you have to consider with ambient is temperatures are going to naturally drop depending on what season you're in. So I noticed through the years that my females would almost all go about the same time because of the way the weather functioned. So once it started to cool off, they start breeding, and then they all lay about the same time. Heat strips, you can kind of vary that a little bit more, and try to get your females to kind of lay periodically or throughout the year versus doing ambient. So, and I like that fact of them all laying at one time. Let's go ahead and get them done, get them out, get them sold, and then take me a little off season per se, where I don't have that much to do. I'd rather grind real hard during the summer and get it done with, and have some time around this time of year, usually a little bit of a break.
Yeah, a little work hard, play hard. So what about, or does it matter? What's your opinion on the hot side and the cool side that we always hear about in tubs or in tanks or whatever it might be? Obviously, you were dealing in tubs, but does that concern you? What do you do about that? Anything?
Well, when you run ambient, it's all at one temperature. I kept everything about 84, 85 degrees, and and nothing changes. I mean, the tub's always the same temperature, the bed in the same temperature, the animal's the same temperature. I never there wasn't any fluctuation in that. So
no issue with I mean, I always hear it's good for digestion, or they got to be able to thermoregulate or get happy with, where they're at. No issue.
Nope.
Nothing.
If anything, the food response was always better because, I mean, they're always warm. So they would always eat, and, it was hot enough for them to digest their food. So, there really was no real downside to it. So.
Huh. And so what, and sorry, I watched the video, but now I don't recall what prevented you in your facility now from running ambient temperature? Like why not just crank up the thermostat in there and get some fans moving the air?
Well, I'm assuming because the old facility was actually 2 separate rooms. I had all the adults in the back room and all the babies in the front room with separate heaters and air conditioners in both rooms. That the smaller area just allowed the heat to stay more constant. In this room, because
variation.
In this room, it's much larger. So if you open the door, all your heat escapes at one time. And I don't have at the old place I had natural gas, so it was like instant heat. Like as soon as the natural gas kicked on, the room was hot. It was done. It was over. I don't have natural gas heaters here, so the fluctuation from the electric heat, it would just drop really far, or when, for whatever reason, the mini split would just spike up real high, be 89, 90 degrees in the room, and actually caused me to have 2 girls slug out at the end of the year last year. So I just felt like this room wasn't capable of keeping the heat like I needed it to, not so much high or low as it was just staying constant.
Yeah. So what do you set your heat side on?
So right now I have most of them around 90, the hot spot, and then the room still stays 79 to 80 degrees.
Yeah.
But all this is still new for me, so I don't know how well it's going to work. We'll find out soon because I got plenty of girls that are grabbing.
Yeah. I've always gone under on my heat on my hot side, 87, 88, just because of some of the stuff you talk about, and hopefully all the thermostats I have will fail off instead of failing on, and the only ones that I've ever had, knock on wood, and I've only been at it a short amount of time, the only ones I've ever had fail are the ones that, first, they're the cheaper ones from Amazon that I use for my ambient room temperature. And that is an oil register heater. And that thing pulls some serious juice. And I think the juice that it pulls is what fries those thermostats. But that's an on-off thermostat rather than a pulse or a proportional. So again, knock on wood, I have had those fail, and they fail off, thank God. But yeah, so I keep those, like I said, I keep my hotspot at 87, 88. And then in the winter, my room is at around 79 is what the thermostat's set to, like right now. But out here in the summertime, it'll be between 80 and 84 is what the room will be. And like you say, that's going to fluctuate with the natural temperatures, which probably will tie into my breeding season as well on that. Man, like I say, it's interesting though, because I got a small enough room where I could do what you're talking about. My room is my room that is heated or that micro temperature controlled is only like 12 by 9. So I try and only keep what needs to be heated in there. So my sink is outside of the heated room. All my tubs, storage, all that stuff is outside. So only what needs to be heated is in that room.
Yeah, I'm doing something a little different too. As the girls ovulate, I'm pulling those girls out and put them in a separate rack where the temperature is the heat strips are a little bit lower, trying to prevent any chance of getting slugs. I've never heard of anybody doing that, so I'm trying that as well. Kind of keeping the girls on a hot spot until they ovulate. Once they ovulate, pull them out, put them in a separate rack that's got a little bit lower temperature on the hot spot, trying to prevent slugs. I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. I don't know. All this is brand new to me, so we'll try it and see.
So you could run different zones off of your various heat strips, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, I got you.
So, yeah, I have 5540 sitting right here that has no females in it unless they've ovulated. So that whole rack is designated for them. And I like the fact of, and I didn't really think about it till I started doing it, but once I pull the girls away from the normal breeding colonies and stick them to the side, that's a rack that I don't have to worry about feeding or really worrying about too much. Just they don't have to be bred anymore. They don't have to be fed anymore. They're just sitting there, making sure that, you know, clean the tub and give them fresh water. So it's like one rack out of a distraction of, you know, I have I think there's like 120 breeder females over here. So pulling all those away and sticking them to one section just kind of eliminates a little bit of a headache.
Yeah. So you said earlier, one-man show. How many animals you got? 120 breeder females. So you got 200 that you're growing out and males altogether?
So there's probably 130, 135 breeder females all together. And then I have like 15 that are borderline whether or not I'll breed them this year or not. Probably going to wait. Males are, I probably have 25, 30 males, and then like 55 or 60 holdbacks.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, another 70 or 80 for sale right now. Okay. Or 70 or 80 holdbacks that aren't big enough to put in the holdback rack / for sale.
So you're flirting with 300 animals. So what's your workflow like on your cleaning? What's your day-to-day look like as far as like, what's your routine? What's the work rate like?
So Sundays, if I'm here, which, you know, unless we do a show or out for family vacation or something, I'm usually here on Sunday. Sunday's my feed day. It just works for me better that way. Allows me to do things on Friday and Saturday with my kids, and then Sunday, you know, everybody just wants to hang around the house, so they're hanging around the house and I'm still working. So I try to feed on Sundays. Monday and Tuesday are just cleaning, pairing, ultrasounding, whatever. Those are my 2 longest days. Wednesday is YouTube filming. That's pretty much what we do all day. And then Thursday and Friday are spot clean, and I try not to work on Saturday. So
yeah.
In between there, I make custom knives. I try to do that when I can. And funny story, y'all heard the whole body shop thing earlier. 3 or 4 weeks ago, the body shop that I used to work for called me, and they're just bombarded and you can't get nobody to work. So I've actually started back working out for them. So I'm pulling like 12 to 14 hours a week painting cars for them, just walking in and taping up and painting cars. I really don't want to do that, but you know, I'm making anywhere between $50 and $70 an hour doing that. So it's kind of a no-brainer to work that in there. So
yeah, if that phone rings, you answer it. Yeah, man.
It's a lot of work. I stay real busy and I feel like I miss out a lot, but at the end of the day, that's money that's just basically handed to me, and I just need to make it while I can. So
yes, sir.
But Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday and Wednesday are all designated for the snakes. So 4 days a week, I don't do anything but snakes. And then where I can work stuff on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I do knives and painting cars. So it's pretty much an overloaded schedule.
I hear you. Between snakes, music, and work and family, I go. I don't stop. I don't. But I love it. I joke with people. They're like, "Have you seen that?" And I'm like, "No, man. I didn't watch Netflix tonight. I don't know what's going. I didn't see it. I don't know.
I have no idea what's going on in the rest of the world."
Yeah, I take some time away, and I do make sure that my dinner time and about an hour and a half after dinner set aside for family. I make sure that I have time to pick up my son and make sure that I'm doing homework with him and that kind of thing.
Yep.
yeah, I work before I go to work, then I work my day, and then I work in the evenings afterwards. And I enjoy it. There's a freedom that comes with it. There's a fulfillment that comes with it. And frankly, I dream about it. I even, when I go to sleep at night, how I calm myself down and get into this like calm mode is it's so cheesy, man. I think about my female sitting on eggs like that makes me happy to go to sleep. That's what I think about at night, and it's,
I don't even think, like I lay down and I'm out. My wife picks on me. She's like, you never want to watch TV in bed, or you never want to snuggle up. It's like, once my head hits the pillow, I'm out. So it's part of it. I mean, I'm at the age now where I don't have very many more years of this hard hustle. My body's just not going to be able to take it. So I'm going to get in what I can now, and pray I make enough money that my kids can be happy in a couple of years.
Well, that's right. And it doesn't matter whether it's ball pythons. I mean, that was me in the restaurants. People said I was missing out on this, or I should be going and doing that. You know what? When the time came for me to step aside, I didn't think twice about it. When the time came for me to say, you know what? My boy's going to leave the house in 10 years, and I'm not missing this next 10 years. I had the freedom to step away. And what was amazing is when I did step away, they said, well, we'll create a remote position for you. We want you here.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'll do it.
Yep.
So it can be done. And that is from a place of gratitude, not of bragging, not of anything else. I'm proud of what I've done, but I've also done the work, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to have been able to. So we're a little bit in overtime. If you got to run, let me know, but I got a couple more thoughts. What, between Arlington all the way to the business stuff and what we've accomplished, what do you see as the shape of the hobby right now? We got this weird cloud hanging over us with this legislation. I know it's the unspoken elephant in the room, so to speak. What'd you see at Arlington? What are your friends talking about? What are you comfortable saying, or what do you like? There's things I don't even want to say out loud. What's on your mind about that?
I don't really think it changes anything. I mean, it's nothing more than what we faced in years past. I don't think that the industry is going anywhere. I don't think that they're going to pass this bill. Majority of my customers pretty much think the same way. I think. I mean, I don't ask them. It's not my point to ask people. If they want to tell me about it, that's fine. But I don't ask people questions. That's just not who I am.
When you say you don't think it'll change anything, is that because you don't think that amendment will get included in the bill in the ultimate final version, or you think even if it passes, it's not going to change anything?
I don't think it's going to pass. Gotcha. I mean, I don't see any way. There's too many. I mean, the reptile industry in general is one of the largest industries in the United States, if not the largest. You start messing. There's a lot of people with a lot of power, a lot of people with a lot of money, and you start messing with those type of people, and things change whether we see it or not. And I think because of the size of the reptile industry in general, plus you have all these corporations and stuff, Petco and PetSmart and all that crap too. I just don't think.
Suddenly we're all buddies with PetSmart and Petco, and not to mention the fish, the birds, the ferret, the anything else. Man, if all they're selling is dog food, they're just an aisle in Walmart tomorrow. And not to cut you off and jump in. Okay, I am with you on that point. But you starting to hear that that's kind of the sentiment out there, the thoughts.
Like I said, I don't really talk to that many people or have that many people open up to me. But from the people that I have talked to about it, everybody's pretty much in agreement with that. That it's just not going to get passed. And our government in general, and look, I'm not a big government person. But in government in general, they pass these huge laws and it's 10 steps towards this big law, and it fails, and it goes back to those 9 steps.
Right.
And then in a year later, they try to pass 10 more steps again, and it jumps back to 9 steps.
Fair enough.
So what they've gained in 2 years is 2 steps forward. And that's not just what we do, that's everything. And that's just my opinion on it. But for right now, or at least for the next, 5 or 6 years, I don't think they're not going to be able to do what they want to do by a long shot. It just can't. I mean, it's going to shut down so many industries. So many people will be without jobs. I mean, look at what FedEx. I mean, FedEx itself. If we weren't able to ship animals through FedEx, FedEx is fighting for us as well, because that, even though they don't really like the fact of having the reptile, that is a huge. I mean, I know how much money a year I spend with FedEx, and I'm not, a big breeder per se, but we're talking about billions of dollars every year that the reptile industry gives FedEx. And look at how many employees FedEx employs just to do the reptiles. So
things overnight. Yeah.
It's going to affect a lot more people than just somebody breeding snakes. And I just don't think they got the manpower and the money to do it yet. I'm not going to say in years to come, but and I'll be quite frank with you, if they start and are able to pass this, we're all screwed anyway. So what's it matter? Because they're not going to stop here. It's going to be everything.
My thoughts on it are along the same lines. The practicality and rationality of it, the way it's worded, goes against anything American, in my opinion. And I don't mean that I truly don't mean this in a partisan way. I said on my last show, this is an initiative that is at the moment factually part of a Democrat agenda. And it's utilizing the rules that the Republicans pushed through in the previous administration. So there's your, I'm not saying this in a partisan way, and I don't care to get into that, frankly. But the overreach of something affecting a situation in South Florida that relates to climate and environment the same way it does in Minneapolis is absolutely ludicrous. The overreach of states' rights and local governments and interstate commerce is absolutely ludicrous. You're right. There's enough people that they're affecting that there's big money that will come out of the woodwork, big lobby, and eventually big votes. And at the end of the day, those of us that feel powerless, voting is how we have power, no matter how insignificant it feels, no matter how much we question results. Again, I don't want to get into that stuff. That is what our hope, our faith, our belief is. And it's what our birthright gives us. And I don't even mean that in an ungracious way. I mean, we're lucky enough to be born in this country, and that's what comes with it. So I do still believe in, at the end of the day, I'm a constituent. This is a representative government. I am a licensed businessman that pays taxes legitimately on what I do to make a living. I moved back to this state to have the open for business mentality. And I've let my senators know that. And that's what I would ask everybody to do at the very least. And also discuss with people outside of the hobby. Why is this important? To your point, if we're going to regulate, snakes, what about your fish at the carnival that you win? What about your birds that you think are a fun pet because you get tired of your cat or your dog, or you're allergic to cats or dogs? What about the vets that it's going to put out of business, the veterinarians it's going to put out of business? All of that, all the way up to, you're right, about FedEx, about the big, huge box stores and the people that they employ. That is a huge, huge business. And so from government philosophy, federalism versus states' rights philosophies that this country was built on, all the way to everyday Joe jobs, this doesn't make sense. And Steven at Leviathan Snakes said something to me in a private conversation a couple of weeks ago. And he said, once we get used to the idea, we stop getting pissed off about it, and then they've won. So I know I'm beating a drum. I know I'm beating a dead horse. Before we came on the air tonight, you talked about how you probably have US Arc involved in your logo and your vinyl wrap. And I think we have to support them. But even if I don't necessarily pray at the feet of US Arc, or I've heard people contentious of this power or that power, fine. Exercise your own individual voice. Get in touch with your representative government officials, whether you voted for them or not. Their obligation is to represent you as a citizen and the constituent of their region. It is a representative government, and your voice counts. Yep. And I believe that very, very strongly. And so that would be my encouragement to everybody. So with that, I have one more question for me. We can talk about whatever you want or anybody else wants afterwards. But what's the aside? Maybe the answer is what we just talked about. But business-wise, personal-wise, any-wise, what is the hurdle, or what keeps you up at night, or what's your worry as an entrepreneur, an independent businessman, chasing your dreams, doing what I hope what you want to be doing and enjoying life with it? What keeps you up at night, or what's that hurdle in your way for the next big step for you?
Right now, I've gotten to a point, a goal per se. I've just reached that, and getting into a new house and a new facility, and the rat facility was a huge ordeal for me, a big goal that I wanted, and I'm at the point now where that's pretty much at full production. So I'm really, right now, I'm just I'm kind of content with what's going on, and other than waiting on the new facility to come about in the next couple of years, I'm pretty much just hit a major goal, and I really haven't set anything new for myself yet, other than just grinding and making the money, and trying to do what I can do as a father and as a family man and husband, and I guess a major stake in the industry that we live in now. And I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to live the high while it lasts, I guess, because I mean, I know especially in this hobby, once you hit that major mountain, there's going to be a valley coming right behind it, and I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm sure something devastating is probably going to happen soon, and I'm just trying to live where I'm at now and focus on trying to improve the genetics and the snakes that I have, and work on a new facility in years to come. So that's pretty much where I'm at. Every day that passes is just another day that I get to look forward to making something cool. And it's pretty much what all this business is about. I mean, put your heart and soul into certain projects, and this industry can the odds can beat you to death sometimes, and makes you feel like you're nobody, and then sometimes you hit stuff that just makes you feel like you're on top of the world, and it goes up and down real hard. And there's a lot of, we had a bad month, like December, January was really rough. Even though we were in a good spot as far as our family goes, the money wasn't rolling in real good. I mean, the market was pretty dead. And I think pretty much everybody was like that. And when you run our rat facility costs about $1,800 a month just to run it, and not including what the snake facility costs. So there's several $1,000s a month just to keep the facilities up and going. And when there's not hardly any money coming in, it was a pretty rough time. But we've bounced back the past couple of weeks real hard, and I'm glad to see that people are pushing, still trying to push on this industry and the market, and back to buying stuff. And people, I don't know, it was just a hard time right after the first of the year. with the economy like it is, I mean, let's face it, it's not a great economy. Then you got this bill passed, and then I've been quite worried, but at the end of the day, I'm just going to keep pushing forward and let God do what He's going to do, and keep grinding. I mean, no point sitting around dwelling about it. So
no, I don't think there is a point in sitting around dwelling at it, and I don't know exactly how to put it, but people that can navigate through the chaos or downtimes are the ones that will come out higher in the end. I remember, and this was total luck. This wasn't, now I would call it foresight as I'm ready for it to happen again. But it was total luck at the time. But this very house that I'm sitting in now, I bought in 2008, August 2008, because I thought that the down slump in the market was done. Like, we had 4 more years to go. And I was faced with not being able to afford this house. It was underwater from what I owed on it, but I couldn't afford to sell it because it was going to either cost me a bankruptcy or it was going to cost me $40,000 I didn't have to pay off the bank. Well, I didn't have a roadmap for it, but it just happened at the time. I was falling in love with the woman that would become my wife. And I said, you know what? Why don't we move into your place and let's rent this other place? And the second I did that, I never paid a mortgage out of pocket for the next 13 years. Meanwhile, I was building my life. And when the house in North Carolina became worth quite a lot of money, I was able to sell the house in North Carolina and come back to this home that I bought in 2008 that really could have sunk me, could have caused me a bankruptcy, or I figured out how to navigate that chaos. And if I did it without any, if I did it by dumb luck before with a little bit of thought and direction, I feel confident I can do it again. And to go back to the legislation thing, I don't want to have to go underground figuratively. I have a wife and a son now. If I were just a single guy, the work mercenary, fine, I'd risk it. I can't do that now. But I know I can always work hard. I know I can always run the hell out of a restaurant. I know I can always play an honest song on a guitar.
Yep.
I'll figure it out. It might not be the high times like you're talking about. It might be the November and December for a year or two. But I firmly believe that, So, man, Tony, I find you very inspirational. I find your authenticity very welcoming. You said to me when I was asking if you'd come on this show that you are an open book, and you've totally proven that to be true, more than even necessary. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Come back sometime, man. We really didn't even talk about any specific snakes, did we? We'll do it again.
Everybody joined in for the ball pythons, and I didn't show any.
Yeah, that's all right. No, we'll do the audience is great. We're still sitting with 44, 45 people right now. I'm going to make it a point to make sure that our paths cross. I want to buy you a beverage next time and hang out a little bit. And it'd be my pleasure. And I hope we get to do that, whether it's at Daytona or maybe in a few weeks up around Augusta. I'll come see you, kind of deal. But I don't have much here, but the door's always open here, man. And you're certainly always welcome on the show. So thanks very much for being here. Guys, if you're not subscribed to Hardwired Exotics, you need to be. Please do. It's the least we can do for Tony and his time tonight for providing for us. So thank you very much, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll do it again soon. For those of y'all in the audience, we're here every Tuesday night. Next week, we're going to do a breeders roundtable. Some of y'all don't even know you're about to get invited. For sure, Stephen at Leviathan Snakes will be joining me. We'll talk about kind of the state of the hobby, pick up here where Tony and I have left off, what we see, what's hard, what's good, what optimism that we have. And we'll pick that up next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here on Proper Royals. Tony, thank you so much, man. I wish you the very best, man. I really enjoyed it.
Right on.
All right. Thank y'all. Cheers, everybody.